Hi everyone, it's Tori from Century. Thank you for joining me again this morning. This live lesson is an English lesson and today we're going to be focusing on prefixes. And all you'll need to join in is something to write with and something to write on. But before we get started with our lesson, I just want to tell you a little bit about Century. Now some of you may have accounts already, and that's great if you do, and even better if you've been doing lots of learning on Century. But if you haven't got an account yet, then it's really easy to get one set up. Now, while schools are closed, we really want to support you with your learning, so we're offering you free access to hundreds of our English, maths and science lessons. And one of the best things about Century is that it uses artificial intelligence to get to know how you learn best, and it completely personalises your learning for you. So parents and guardians, if you're also watching, then all you need to do is visit century.tech/parents sign up to get your child started. You'll find the link in the description below, and I'll also share it with you at the end of this lesson. We're also running live lessons here on YouTube every morning, and this English lesson comes from our Key Stage 2 Essentials reading course. This one is perfect for year 5 and 6s, but if you're in year 3 and 4 and you like a good challenge, then please do join in with us. I'm going to turn off my camera now and let's get started. A prefix is just a group of letters at the beginning of a word that changes the meaning of a word. And in this lesson, we'll focus on how prefixes can help you work out the meaning of perhaps unfamiliar words. So just to recap, a root word is the main part of a word. And on its own, this word has a meaning. When we add a prefix to the beginning of a root word, this changes the meaning of the word. Now, people often confuse prefixes with suffixes, but suffixes are a group of letters that can be added to the end of a root word, and they also change the meaning of the word. But remember, in this lesson, we're going to be focusing on prefixes. When you're reading unfamiliar words, it's always a really good idea to look at the prefix first and think about what that prefix means, and then you can think about the rest of the word. In this lesson, we're going to start by focusing on the prefixes that mean not. And one of the most common prefixes meaning not is un. So starting quite simple here, we've got the root word kind, and now let's add the prefix un to make unkind. Unkind means not kind. It's the prefix un which changes the meaning from kind to not kind. Now let's look at some other root words. Informed means to be aware or know about something. So to be uninformed means not to know about something. How about intentional? If something is intentional, it's been done on purpose. So if something is unintentional, it means it has not been done on purpose or it's been done accidentally. So, for example, this morning I spilt some milk. This was unintentional. I didn't mean to do it on purpose. It was a mistake. And now let's look at the root word hygienic. If something is hygienic, it means it's clean and germ-free. But if something is unhygienic, then it's usually not clean and full of germs. So un is probably one of the most common prefixes for not, but it's not the only one. So let's have a look at some others with some examples here. We'll look here at the root word active. To change the word to not active, we need to add the prefix in to get inactive. Unactive is not actually a word. The prefix here is in. So you need to be careful when choosing the right prefix. So here are some other common prefixes which also mean not. We've got im, ill and ear. And now I'm going to give you some root words and 15 seconds to match the right prefix to the root word. Off you go. Now let's go through the answers starting with reversible. If something is reversible, it means it can go backwards or be undone. So something that is not reversible is irreversible. It means it cannot be undone. So well done here if you chose the prefix ir. Now for legal. Legal means that you are allowed to do something by law. And illegal means that you cannot do something because it's against the law. So well done if you chose the prefix ill for this one. Now for our final example, patient. Being patient means that you are able to wait or accept problems while staying calm. And I'm sure a lot of you are being very patient right now. You may want to go out and see your friends, but you just need to wait and stay calm until the lockdown is lifted. But I'm sure a lot of us will also feel impatient at times. This is when we feel like we cannot wait any longer and we find it difficult to remain calm. So we've got impatient here. So well done if you selected that prefix im. So far we've looked at prefixes that mean not. But how many other prefixes can you think of? I'm going to give you 60 seconds to write down as many as you can. Off you go. Did you get any of these ones here? Well done if you did. You may have also got others, but we'll start by going through these prefixes and see what they mean. So we'll start with re, pre, sub and super. So re means to do again. So simply redo means just to do it again. Redo. Now pre means before. So in this word preview, preview means to view it before. So for example, at the cinema there may be a preview. This is when you can view the film before everybody else. And now let's have a look at sub. So sub means under or below. And here we've got the word submarine. So marine means the sea and sub means under. So this makes sense for the submarine which travels under the water. Now let's have a look at the prefix super. Super means above, and we've got the example here, superpower. Now if you have a superpower, you have a power that is over and above the power of others. Now let's have a look at some more prefixes. We'll start with anti. Anti means against. So anti-clockwise means it's going in the opposite direction. Now miss, so this often means wrong, and an example here we've got misbehave. Auto means self. The word automatic often means that something will control itself. And then we've got inter, which means between, and we've got here the example interlocked. So now we're going to play a little game with all of these prefixes. We'll bring up their meanings here, and I am going to spin this spinner. And whichever prefix the spinner lands on, you are going to have 30 seconds to write down as many words as you can that begin with that prefix. So let's spin the spinner. It's landed on pre, so you've got 30 seconds starting from now to list as many words as you can beginning with pre. Okay, so focusing on pre, here are some that I got. I wonder if you got them too. Preheat means to heat something up in advance. If you're baking, for example, you might preheat the oven. Pre-loved, if you buy something second-hand, it's often described as pre-loved. Someone loved it before. And also I got pre-mixed, which means that it's been mixed before. It's already been mixed. So for example, your cake ingredients might be pre-mixed. You might only need to add an egg or some oil, and the rest of those ingredients are already mixed. So now let's go back to the game. We're going to spin the spinner again, and whatever it lands on, you'll have another 30 seconds to write as many words as you can down that have that prefix. So, pointing to anti this time. So as 30 seconds, as many words as you can that start with the prefix anti. Off you go. So here I got antisocial, which means not being very social. Antifreeze is used to stop liquid from freezing. You might have heard of that before. And antibiotic. And this is a type of medication that you get from a doctor which can make you feel better. So now remember, when you're reading unfamiliar words, you should always look at the prefix first. So I'm going to give you some words now, and you are going to select the right meaning using the prefix to help you. So looking here at autocorrect. Does autocorrect mean something that is not correct, something that was correct before, or something that corrects itself? 10 seconds to have a think. So the clue was in the prefix. Auto means self. So autocorrect means something that corrects itself. Now we've got a sentence here. The baby was premature. Now, does this mean that the baby was born early, the baby was born late, or the baby was mature for her age? 10 seconds to have a think. Remember, think about the prefix. So the prefix in premature is pre, and pre means before. So this gives us a clue that it should be A. The baby was born early. It was born before it should have been born. Well done if you got that one correct. And now another sentence here. The professor was an expert in subterranean creatures. Does this mean that they knew a lot about creatures that are not found on our planet? They knew a lot about creatures that live under the Earth's surface? Or they knew a lot about creatures that live between the train tracks? 10 seconds to have a think. So you should have focused on the word subterranean here, and the prefix should have given you a big clue. So sub means under or below, and terranean, which you might not have known, means relating to the earth. But even just the sub on its own should have given you the clue that it's B. The professor knew a lot about creatures that live under, because remember sub means under the earth's surface. Well done if you got that one correct. So now we're going to look at a short extract of text here. So I'll read it to you and then I'll give you some questions. It had been raining all day, but we had not been discouraged by the weather. We had all headed out away from school into the woods, retracing our steps from the week before. The path had become clearer since then, when we had had to break apart the interwoven branches of the trees to get through. Now we could walk through in single file quite comfortably. And now for some questions. So the first question is, which word shows that they had walked on the path before? And the second question, which two words describe why the path was difficult to pass? Now remember, use the prefixes to help you. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. So well done if for the first one you found the word retracing. Re means before, remember, so retracing means that they had traced the steps that they had done before. And which two words describe why the path was difficult to pass? And you should have selected interwoven branches. Very well done if you did. So remember, a prefix is a group of letters at the beginning of a word that changes the meaning of the word. A prefix can help you work out the meaning of an unfamiliar word. When looking at a new word, work out if there is a prefix first. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go on Century and we're going to have a go at a prefixes nugget to put our new skills to the test. So now I'll just switch my screen over to show you Century. Now, if you have got an account already, you'll be very familiar with how Century looks. If you haven't got Century yet, then here what you're seeing is your recommended path. Now, when you start learning on Century, Century gets to know you and it will recommend the right learning for you. And this will fit in this pathway here. Now you can see some maths, but we'll also have a little bit of science and then some English in our pathway as well. Now the nugget that I'm looking for, a nugget is the name for our mini lessons if you haven't used Century before. So the nugget I'm looking for is the one on prefixes. So I'm going to find it in the My Courses page. So I click here on My Courses. And then I need to choose my reading course. So here I've got my Reading Essentials course. So I'll open this one up and I'm just going to do a quick search for prefixes here. So I open up prefixes and this will be our lesson on prefixes. Now we have gone through all of the learning material in the video already. If you wanted a quick recap, you could have a quick flick through the slideshow if you wanted to, or if you wanted to watch the video, you could watch that just to become even more familiar with the different prefixes and how they can change the meaning of words. And then when you're ready, you can move on to the questions. So here we are, we have got a paragraph here and we've got to find and copy one word in the paragraph which means not want to do something. So I'll read this paragraph and you look out for the word or listen out for the word which means not want to do something. So it's the same passage as we had before. It had been raining all day, but we had not been discouraged by the weather. We had all headed out, away from school, into the woods, retracing our steps from the week before. So trying to find a word that means not, got not here. So I'm thinking discouraged here, as the prefix dis can mean not. So I just type this in here. And I'm going to submit the answer. Okay, it says that we're correct, and we've also got some feedback. So the prefix dis generally makes the word negative. So discouraged is the opposite of encouraged. Now let's move on to the next question. So it's the same passage again, and in fact this is the same question as we had in our practice. So we are finding and copying one word, which means to go along a path which has already been followed. So remember, something that's already been followed, it's been followed before, so we should be thinking about the prefix re, and it's retracing. So I'll put that in here, and I'll submit the answer. Now I'm going to leave the nugget here because I want you to be able to have a go at these questions for yourself. So remember, you need to log into your Century. You need to go to the My Courses, find your reading course, and then search for prefixes, and then you'll be able to find this nugget. So this is what you need to do if you've already got a Century account, but if you don't, you just need to ask your parent or guardian to set up a free account for you. So that'll give you access to this nugget within this English course, but also our maths and science courses as well. So all they need to do is go to www.century.tech/parent sign up, and you'll be able to find this link in the description below. So again, thank you very much for joining me with this lesson this morning, and see you again tomorrow for a maths lesson.